Hey, what's going on, PTSD buddies? Better late than never, okay? We're on. We made it, all right? It took a while. It was all my fault. You can blame me, all right? We couldn't get connected. But we're on. We're live now. And we're going to have a chat with Felicia, all right?
Hello.
Hey, Felicia, what's going on?
Hey, everybody.
Let me see. There we go. Well, Felicia, thanks for taking the time to
How's it
have a
going?
chat with us tonight.
No problem.
And it was cool to talk to you for a few minutes beforehand and see that you're an Xboxer, just like me.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
Can't play.
Xboxing something you find that's good for dealing with PTSD?
Um, well, it depends on what kind of game I'm playing. I often rather play by myself than with people online.
Yeah, I get that. I was playing online just before we came on live here right now, and I got shot a lot playing Black Ops, and I wanted to throw the controller on the floor. So I could see how playing online, can bring up the temper.
Oh, for sure. I I was pretty good at Black Ops for a long time. I had a pretty high KD, but um, it made me mad. I don't like playing games that make me mad. I don't see the point in playing a game that's supposed to be fun.
No, exactly. Yeah, the role playing games I've enjoyed too, but the online ones, all it does is make me realize how terrible I am at the video game, right?
Yeah, and the language we could use for sure.
I know. Yeah, I've had it sometimes. These little kids who just tell me off, and I mean, what do? All you can do is
well,
sit there and take it, right?
well, yeah. Have you seen those memes, the pictures of those like hood rat little kids? That these are the kids that say they fucked your mom online. That's so stupid.
Oh no, no. So,
Oh.
uh, how long have you been dealing with PTSD, and when did it enter your life?
Well, my therapist, who I was seeing weekly, she diagnosed me recently. It was only within the last 3 months, but she believes that it's been since I was around probably 12. I'm a victim of sexual abuse and physical abuse from my parents.
Wow.
And then my most recent marriage was pretty abusive also.
Wow, sounds like a
Yeah,
lifetime.
rough. Yeah, I grew up in foster care most of the time, so I was a confused little girl.
Yeah, I bet you were. I can't imagine going through that.
Foster care is no place for any child.
No, no, it's not. No, I can't imagine. I grew up. I had a great childhood. I had great parents, so I can't imagine a life without them.
Yeah. No, a lot of times I always, most of it I feel like started, I was just very angry when I was a teenager. I did a lot of things teenagers shouldn't do. I knew more than I should have, so
You grew up.
I was
Sounds like
was
you grew up
very
fast.
promiscuous. Yeah, well, I was super promiscuous when I was a teenager. I'm lucky I didn't end up pregnant or like with AIDS or something.
Right?
But for a long time, that's what I thought that I needed to do to make anybody love me, really.
Yeah.
But I grew out of that pretty quickly. Once I turned 18 and, everything was my fault, all my choices were up to me.
Yeah.
I kind of straightened up. Yeah, I work for a nonprofit organization now where I serve people with disabilities,
Oh, very
and
cool.
that really helps me. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really helps me feel like I accomplished. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I find a lot of people
I like
who
it.
deal with PTSD. That's one of the things that makes them feel better, including myself, and having chats and everything with people with PTSD. I mean, it makes me feel better, right? I can totally understand
Yeah, for
why you're
sure.
doing it. So, what kind of symptoms have you been shown, with PTSD? I know me, I'm not a fan of crowds, and I do have anger issues sometimes, especially when I'm driving. Have you shown any kind of symptoms,
Yeah.
like something that stands out to you?
Um, well, anger is one of them. Just the other day, I posted that I freaked out at work, and not just a little bit. I just found out that I have PCOS. It's polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's very unlikely that I'll be able to have children. And also, a week before that, they told me I had type 2 diabetes. And,
Wow.
my job is not always easy. My coworkers they're special.
Yeah.
And so I spilt a soda. Yeah, all that happened that day was that I spilt my soda on my pants, and I just flipped out. I threw it across the parking lot. I screamed a bunch of obscenities. My
Yeah.
clients were there, so I scared them.
Yeah.
It was pretty epic.
It's funny how we can lose it over just the smallest things, hey?
Yeah, well, I've tried really hard to keep it together. Because it's who I work with, they would never be able to understand any of this.
Yeah.
And most people with disabilities like Down syndrome or autism, they're very self-centered, not on purpose, but they don't really, I don't know how to put it. It's not that they don't think of other people, it's that they don't know how to, I guess, is
Okay.
my best guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they think about you. They're always like, happy birthday, hello, you're beautiful. They're really nice, but, they don't really, they're not very aware of the outside world. So, they'll never be able to understand,
Yeah.
why I was mad.
Cheyenne Anderson says, I have PCOS too. Don't lose hope. I got my baby at 32.
Yeah, that'd be nice. My boyfriend, he doesn't want to have children, and I'm almost ready to give up. I lost one last year. I had to have surgery to have it removed, so I think I've made my peace with it.
Right on.
Sort of. I mean, obviously I was upset about it, but...
Yeah. Well, of course you're upset. I mean, you said you wanted to have kids, so have that taken from you. That's quite the blow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It is. Well,
I'm
I
sorry
already
that
had
happened to
that.
you.
I had an idea that it was part of what was going to happen anyways from my surgery the year before.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, hearing it and knowing it are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever dealt with panic attacks since you've been dealing with PTSD?
Um, I don't recognize those things yet. I never really did before. My therapist said that she's actually doing cognitive behavioral therapy,
Right.
and she's helping me recognize those things. I don't know them when I'm having them yet. I don't recognize them yet, I guess.
Okay. Any other
I'm sure
symptoms?
I have. Well, I mean, I do tend to spend a lot of time by myself. I don't really spend much time with my boyfriend. We've been together for almost 2 years, but I don't really have the time. More so, I'm crazy, and I feel like I'm. A lot of times, I feel like I'm ruining things. Like it's me. It's all me.
Yeah. Well, you feel like there's some guilt there.
Kind of. Our relationship didn't start out the right way. I was married when we first started seeing each other.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you
Yeah.
were married at first.
But my ex, yeah, well, my ex-husband, I just finalized my divorce about 4 months ago, but my ex-husband was really abusive, so I was afraid to leave him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, right, right. Yes, right. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. There's my PTSD. My great memory, right? You mentioned at the beginning your abusive husband. Sorry
I
about that.
have a great memory too.
Yeah, I have the memory of a goldfish. That's what my wife tells me. Yeah.
That's funny. I do too. I have 3 different jobs, so keeping them in order, like remembering the paperwork that I'm supposed to do, and I don't get a whole lot of sleep, so I'm sure that contributes.
Uh, sorry. What's her name? Cheyenne said CBT, actually DBT, but the same thing. was the best thing I could have done to help recognize my triggers? Do you,
What was it?
okay, CBT was the best thing I could have done to help recognize my triggers.
I guess I'm not really sure what that is. I'm still relatively new to all of this. I mean, obviously it was there for a long time. I'm not aware of any of the terms they use.
Yeah, I'm I've never heard of what you were talking about until you just told me the meaning of it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not up on the terms either. Oh, hang on.
Yeah?
Yeah. How about nightmares? Has nightmares been something that you've had to deal with?
Always. I used to spend a lot of time over at my boyfriend's house, but he lost a lot of sleep because I cry really heavily when I'm sleeping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I do get sleep, I feel like I think I was talking Cheyenne. I actually met in person. She lives nearby me.
Yep.
Yeah, I was telling her I'm not really sure if they are considered night terrors, but I work so much and so often because I can't sleep unless I'm exhausted.
Right. Yeah, I've
I
been.
used to take traz.
You what?
I used to take trazodone for sleep, but it only put me to sleep. It didn't keep me there.
Oh yeah, like you kept like waking up throughout the night.
All the time. I'd get maybe 2 hours of sleep. I never met REM sleep, so it was as if I didn't sleep at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the worst thing I remember when I couldn't sleep, I used to always wake up and look at the clock, and wake up and look at the clock, and wake up and look at the clock, man. And then someone told me,
Yeah.
"Why do you have the clock in eyesight? I should move the clock away." So I had to do that, but then it just made me paranoid that I was going to be late for work. I always got this paranoia that I'm going to be late, and I would. A lot of times for me, I would show up early, like way too early for appointments, and be sitting in the parking lot, you know. But that's me.
Same. I'm always super early for work. I think the earliest I've been there was like 30 minutes early, and I'd just sit there until it was time to clock in.
Yeah, I've done that, man. It'd be way early because you think that something's going to go wrong or whatever. Or there's been times that you're just
Yeah.
not sleeping, right? But
Yeah, I get the clock thing because when you look at the clock, then you're like, all right, I have 7 hours to sleep, and then I have 6 hours to sleep, and now I have 5 hours to sleep, and then you get panicky because you haven't slept, and you're like, I only get 2 more hours, you know?
yeah.
I get really upset about the time.
I know, and so I
I
find
did
it.
this morning.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, this morning I worked overnight. I worked for a Beehive Home. It's a assisted living place.
Yeah.
I got off work and I was like, okay, I have 5 hours before my next shift. I can sleep. And the whole time I was sleeping, I'd wake up every now and again thinking that I forgot something that I was supposed to do, or I'm not going to wake up in time because I'm really tired, you know?
Yeah. In a panic that you forgot something.
Yeah, always. I'm always thinking I forgot something, or like, I'm really, really bad at being able to disappoint people. Like, not so much anymore because my therapist is awesome. But I used to take on everyone else's stuff. Like, if they had a problem at home, I'd try to find solutions for them.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's really nothing I can do about it. So, yeah, I've been giving up on, I'm not giving up on people, but giving up on giving my 2 cents because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Let me ask you this, Felicia. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you just sat there and said, "Man, I really hate people"?
Oh, every day. I have a hard time getting out of bed. I'm like, I want to hang out with people.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All the
Especially when I'm
time.
driving.
Yes, that's the worst part because, driving sucks. I drive most of the time for my first, I'm going to call it my first job, the longest job that I've had. I worked for that nonprofit I mentioned for 3 years now.
Yep.
And I have to drive everywhere, all the time. Doctor's appointments, activities, you name it, I have to drive them there. So
Oh, really?
I hate driving so much. After work, if someone wants to go, if someone wants to go somewhere, I make them drive. I'm like, I'm not driving.
No.
You
Yeah,
can
I
come
always
get
get
me,
I always
though.
get my wife to drive downtown in traffic because I can't handle it, especially if people are going below the speed limit. Like
Oh
downtown, the
man, that's
speed
the
limit
worst.
it's like 50, and there's people there who do 20, and I sit behind these people driving just with my fingernails into the steering wheel, saying, "What is your problem? Why are you going so slow?" And I remember I was driving one time, and I had my kids in the back seat, and I'm driving, and this guy's doing like 20. So I just lay on the horn, bop, and my kid's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Dad's being an arsehole." Bop. And I kept my hand on the horn. It had to be at least 2 minutes before he pulled over, and he gave me the finger, and I was like, "I don't care. I'll take your finger. Just get off the road." Right? Oh.
Yeah, I will take your finger. Stay
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Uh,
I do the same. Yeah,
Sitting there
all the
hating
time. I
their
can't
entire
stand them.
family. Oh.
I know. I actually never speed. Lots of people get really angry with me because I go the speed limit, no faster, no slower. I like use cruise control if I have to, but
Oh yeah.
because of my job, if I speed, I'm responsible for the ticket in our company van or any accidents. I'm responsible for it. So I'm like, I'm not speeding. You're crazy.
Yeah. 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 I don't blame you
They
there.
call me a granny driver right here.
Whatever. Like everyone says, "Oh my God, I hate the drivers in our city." No matter where you to in the planet, right? So that just shows you that I think driving is a trigger for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Cheyenne, if she's still watching, she would know that the town we live in, well, I live in Richfield, the drivers here are so stupid. They always are going too slow or stopping in the middle of the road to chat with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is wrong with you? You're in the road. Pull over. What the hell?
I've seen drivers here turn on the left indicator and turn right. I'm like, I don't know who you're trying to fool, but you're not tricking me.
Yeah, they're not. I feel like half of these people should probably go back to class or like I don't know if the road laws are the same, but here at a four-way stop, the person going left goes first, and then straight, and then right, and
Yeah.
they're always like, "Who's going?" I'm like, "I don't know who was here first, you dummy."
Heather says, try driving in Montreal or Quebec City. Oh my God, Heather! Listen, I drove in Montreal, and I, as a Newfoundlander, was not prepared for driving in Montreal, especially when they start yelling at you in French. 'Cause I didn't know what they were saying. I'm sure it wasn't pretty, but everybody like drives so fast in Montreal. It was crazy, Heather. And everyone was bumper to bumper and bumping horn or hitting horns and yelling at tabernacle and stuff. And oh my God, anxiety through the roof driving in Montreal there, Heather. And I've driven in Afghanistan.
Oh, I get that. I've obviously never been there. I almost went to Canada once. I grew up about an hour north or south, sorry, an hour south of Canada and Minnesota.
Right on.
And now I live near, what's that?
Minnesota, good hockey in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, Minnesota Wild, all the way. I still watch. Everyone's like, "You like hockey? What's hockey?" We live in a desert. Nobody knows what hockey is. No, I go to Vegas. When I go to Vegas, I'm terrified to drive there because nobody uses their blinkers and there's like 6 lanes of traffic and they're going everywhere and they're
No,
not using their blinkers. So I'm like, where is everybody going?
I don't want to. I don't want to drive in Vegas. Heather says she lives right below Iowa.
Ew. Why? I'm just kidding.
Ooh, burn.
I've been to Iowa a lot. I spent a lot of time in Des Moines when I was a kid because, you know, that's where the cool kids went when I was in high school.
Yeah. Felicia, would you say you got a good grip
And
on your
Minneapolis, all
PTSD?
places. What?
Would you say you have a good grip now on your PTSD? You have it under control pretty good?
Oh, God, no.
No?
No, I don't really, my therapist and I are working really hard. We're working back from the beginning, like when I was a kid and all those horrible things happened.
Yeah.
Because when I was 11, you know, I was blaming myself for all of those things. I didn't know better.
Yeah.
So I conditioned myself to believe it was my fault. I know it's not my fault, but it doesn't make me feel internally not at fault, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
When
something I
I was
hear a
put in
lot of
foster
is
care.
people blaming themselves.
Well, I was put in foster care just after my 11th birthday, and my mom got to choose where I lived. She could leave my stepdad and keep me, or she could stay with him, and I would stay as a ward of the state until they found my dad, my real
Right.
dad. And
Right.
she decided to stay with him, so I was always confused as to why she wouldn't pick me, you know, because I was her own flesh and blood. And it was really hard for a little girl to have to figure those things out. It wasn't fair.
Yeah, I bet it was. Heather wants to know, are you on
Foster
any
care sucks too.
medications
I went
now?
through. Say that one more time. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Uh, Heather asked if you're on any medications right now.
No, I was taking mirtazapine and trazodone for sleep, but they are too expensive, and I'm not insured, so
Yeah. Um,
they're like 30 to 30. I think the last time I went to go fill my trazodone, it was about $30.
yeah. When you were using it, did you find it working or helping at all?
The I can't really say. I didn't feel any difference with mirtazapine, which is the anti-anxiety. That's the anti-anxiety med that they prescribed me.
Okay, yeah.
And trazodone made me feel really drunk. Like not drunk feeling, but I walked around. I couldn't really hold myself up. I
Yep.
didn't like it. I mean, I loved it because I felt good, but it wasn't. I didn't like the way I was.
Right. Heather wants to know, did you try EMDR?
Say that word, the last word you're saying. I don't know why. It just breaks up.
Uh, Heather asked if you have you ever tried EMDR therapy?
No, I don't know what that is, so no.
Okay. um, have you? Is there any kind of what do we call it, grounding techniques or like things you do once you're triggered, you know, to calm down that you find work?
Well, at work, which is usually where it happens because, like I said, my coworkers are special. I give myself an adult timeout. I have them watch whoever I'm with for a few minutes so I can go and collect myself. So I'm not taking it out on them or my clients. There's a time and place. So I try to, you know, ward it off for at least the time being. I work out like crazy. You wouldn't know by my weight, but I'm always lifting weights.
Yeah.
That helps to get rid of that extra. Yeah, it helps to get rid of all of that extra fight or flight response stuff that goes on. You know, the adrenaline and
Yeah, yeah, I do
that
know
seems
that. Yeah,
to
good for you.
work.
Good for you. Anything else you find work?
Also, um, adult coloring books. Don't laugh at me, but they're
I am
super
not laughing.
relaxing.
I hear about this all the time about coloring. You carry on.
Well, they help me focus.
Yep.
You're like, you know, they're very intricate designs, and you have to like get in there. Unless you don't mind coloring outside of the lines, but I seen on here so far that almost all of us are perfectionists and we have to do it right. So,
Yeah. Heather says drug companies are covering medications. Mine are all covered with cards from these companies. My meds are over $400 a month. Cheyenne
they're
says
making money off of you.
I take Xanax for my anxiety, but to be honest, I'd rather use cannabis. Unfortunately, it's 100% illegal in my state. Cheyenne, I like to say
Yeah.
that I use cannabis. I have my prescription here in Canada, and it works great for me. Since I've been using it, I haven't had nightmares, and it works great for anger. So there you go. And
I
we do have
yeah, I absolutely agree.
we actually have PTSD buddies. So if you're Canadian, I'm sorry, only if you're Canadian right now. We have PTSD buddies who can help you get a prescription. So if you're interested in that, just send me a private message.
I just really want to move to Canada sometimes. I live close to Colorado, but their laws are very strict. If you don't live there, there's nowhere for you to smoke them except for some very popular hotels that are hard to get into.
Yep.
You can't smoke it in public, including hotel rooms, or by the pool or anything. You can't smoke it on the street. So if you're not living there, where do you smoke it? Nowhere. And you can't bring it over the border. So
Right.
I'm not going to admit it legally. I may or may not be using weed sometimes to
Yeah.
get me past those rough spots.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand that it works for me. It works for I know so many people. So no shame in it. No shame in it, Felicia.
I, it's so much better than drinking those problems away. When my mother died, uh, my dad almost made me go to rehab because I was drunk all day long. I didn't want to feel any of that. Like, I didn't want to go through the grieving process, so I got drunk and stayed that way for like 3 months.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help you cause it. It's a depressant. So even after drinking all those things, the problems are still there. At least when you smoke or whether however you use it, at least you can still think and you know
Yep.
it's not as dangerous. It's not bad. It's not as bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And they call it a gateway drug. Let me tell you, if anything's a
Totally,
gateway
totally.
drug, it's alcohol. I get drunk, I want to do everything. When I smoke, I don't want to do nothing.
Right? Well, I mean, it might be a gateway drug, but like to the fridge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're almost
Oh,
out of time, Felicia. So, what's next for Felicia?
well, I'm trying to. I didn't graduate high school, so right now I'm trying to be better at math because that's like my totally bad weakness, which is weird because I can use Excel like nobody's business. But I want to go to school to be a business lady. I know it
Good.
makes no sense with my massive, fantastic math skills, but I want to
Yep.
be somebody's boss.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Just before you go, Heather says she's going to post on the site the links to those companies about the medications.
All right,
Well,
sweet. All right.
Felicia, it's been great talking to you. I, uh, I wish we could talk longer, but I try to keep these talks under 30 minutes. I just find if I put up an hour-long video, people go on YouTube and go, "I'm not watching an hour-long video."
Oh no,
Right?
yeah, I don't. I always pass those up, but I
Right?
think
Yeah.
that people are. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
great.
Exactly.
I like it too. I like the other videos.
Yeah, and 15 minutes is just not long enough. It's not long enough. You know, all we're doing is just introduction. So it was really great talking to you. Hopefully, we can do it again sometime.
For sure.
And the comments are coming in saying you did an awesome job, Felicia. So thanks from everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, if I ever see you on Xbox, you better watch it because you're gonna be in my sights.
No, yeah, well, I'll have to school you, just like I school all the other noobs.
That's all right. My wife is the one who's good at it. She pounds me in it all the time. All right, Felicia, you take care, and thanks so
Good.
much for having a chat.
Thank you. See you later.
See ya now. Bye bye. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. It was a great chat with Felicia. Felicia was also schooling me on Xbox earlier. But listen, sorry for the lateness. We when we do these chats, we either do it with Facebook video chat, or we do it with this thing Uvu. Uvu gets my face and the other person's face up there, so we always try to do that first, right? But we weren't able to get it, so we went with just regular Facebook. So you got to see more Felicia than me, which is probably good anyway, because Felicia looks a lot better than me, and you probably like that, right? So anyway, I'm going to post this to YouTube, so don't forget to share all our videos and subscribe to our videos and like our videos and do all that stuff. And the next chat is going to be Sunday, and that one is going to be where I share my story. So tune in on Sunday. You can ask me any question. I will answer all questions. I'm going to talk about Afghanistan. I'm going to talk about my triggers, my cooldowns, and I'm even going to talk about how I started PTSD Buddies. All right? So I hope you tune in, because it's going to be a good one. All right. Take care and have a great night and have a great long weekend. See you, everybody.